You are the business. You are a part of that business. And that means that a part of you is in it, whether you believe it or not.
Yeah.
And it's coming out. So it's either coming out really real or really fake. And people can tell.
Hey, my feel good friends. I hope you're having a wonderful week. I'm actually having a great week myself. We started our Brand Vibe Challenge this week, and it has been so much fun. As of this recording, we've already done the story live training, the live training about honing in on your brand's voice. And at the release of this episode, we're actually going to be doing our third live training about how to hone in on your brand's visuals for social media. So I do want to extend an invitation to you if you are still interested in honing in on your brand vibe, your brand's story, voice, and visuals so that you can create more consistent content, grow your loyal following, and ultimately make more sales. If this is something that you're interested in learning more about and being involved in, you can definitely still join our Brand Vibe Challenge at feelgoodsocial.com/brandvibe. It has been a whole lot of fun. The live trainings have just been amazing, and I've been getting such great feedback, and I would really love to see you in there. Just head to feelgoodsocial.com/brandvibe. So let's go ahead and get into today's interview, because this is a wonderful chat with a wonderful woman that I'm sharing with you today. Nikita of Crafted to Thrive is a business and mindset coach, and she works mostly with people with chronic diseases, which is so inspiring and so interesting, honestly. And today we chat about how to show up authentically online as you, how to embrace your story and share it with your audience so that you can make those deeper connections with them, and just how to boost your confidence as you're showing up online. She has a trick for that is super helpful. So I am so excited to share Nikita with you today, my friends. Let's dive into this. Hey friend, and welcome to the Feel Good Social Podcast. I'm your host, Kinsey, and I'm here to help you market your business in a genuine way that works without wasting your precious time. On this show, we chat about social media strategy and mindset tips with a focus on, you guessed it, feeling good. So sit back, relax, and enjoy some genuine conversation for the good of your biz. Hi, Nikita. Thank you so much for joining us, girl. I'm so excited to chat with you.
So am I. I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yes. I did introduce you a little bit in the intro, but I'd love to hear from your own words. Who are you and what do you do and who do you serve?
Okay.
Where do I start?
I always feel like there's so much to say, but basically, I'm a business coach for female creative entrepreneurs. I also really love to help women who are living with a chronic illness really find out how to have a business and, find that balance. I'm also a podcast host of She's Crafted to Thrive, which I started that as a thing that I just needed to connect with people. And I absolutely love it. And it's grown to be one of my favorite things in the world to do. I am currently living in Atlanta, Georgia with my husband and 2 fur kitties, and we're getting a puppy on the way. And yeah, I think that's pretty it, me in a nutshell.
Hell yeah. Oh man, there is so many interesting things there. Firstly, have you named the puppy yet?
Okay, so this is actually going to side note.
Okay. I love side notes.
So we are new puppy owners. So this past couple of months, we were fostering a family's dog for half a year, who was a full grown dog. And I'm not a dog person. That's why we have 2 cats, but I'm a dog person now. And so we were looking for a puppy, and this puppy that we thought we were getting is really tiny. It's the runt of the litter, which I didn't know because I didn't really think about that. So tiny, 5 pounds, fully grown she will be. And I was wow. We can't do that. I mean, I feel really bad by saying that, but I'm we can't do that. We have 2 cats who will kill her. So I'm we just can't. And so we had a name for that puppy, but we have a different puppy now that's on its way, but we don't have a name.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I know. So interesting. Growing up, actually, random side note, my family and I went to the mall to get dinner, like pizza or something. And there was a pet shop just walking by, and there was a Great Dane in the window. And so we went to the mall for pizza, and we left with a Great Dane puppy.
Oh my
I love
goodness.
hearing like the puppy origin stories. What are your cats' names?
Lulu and Leo.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I'm a dog person more so, and my boyfriend is a cat person. I feel like we got some connections going on between you and your husband and me and my boyfriend.
Yeah. My husband didn't ever have cats, so I had to convince him. And I'm like, we're never home, so having a dog seems like really weird. And so, but now that we're 12 years married and like old people at this point in our lives, we are, we're home. So it's like, yeah, a dog would be great.
We could handle a puppy now. 12 years in. I love it. Oh, man. Well, I love what you said about chronic illnesses. Can you tell us a little bit more about why you're so drawn to helping women with chronic illnesses and all of that stuff?
Yeah, I have several. So that's part of the reason why I started my business, was to have the flexibility and the freedom to have control over my time. I had worked in different industries, from real estate to corporate, small business, and it never felt flexible enough to be living with a chronic illness and have work than it was to do it for myself. And so I know the struggles where, if anyone's listening who has a chronic illness and you're working full time, or you have a job and you're in so much pain and you're still going to work, or your employees or your workmates have literally driven you to the hospital. I've been in that boat. And so for me, for women who are looking to pivot, kind of to leave that kind of environment, or work less in that environment, maybe work part-time and have their own side hustle to help them financially, I really feel like there's a different approach to business when you live with a chronic illness. And I found my rhythm. I think everyone has to find their own different rhythm with that. And so that's a big piece of why I really connect with women that are living through that, because it's a very different challenge than, oh, I'm sick, I have a cold, versus you have something that is literally a part of your life for the rest of your life.
Yeah, definitely. Do you find that the process of helping women, is there like one major problem that you help them overcome with that? Or is every case kind of different? Or
every case is a little bit different, but the most common, and it's actually most common among females in general, is the overwhelm, like the overwhelm of what to do and how to handle a situation. And I say overwhelm, but also the embracing of the situation. I think we've spent so much time fighting our bodies, fighting with doctors who tell you, no, you're crazy, no, it doesn't exist, all these different things, that we are always in this tug of war. And just in general, women, we're always in a tug of war of convincing people of whatever it is that we're trying to say, or whatever we feel. And so we don't necessarily embrace that this struggle or this thing that I have has created different opportunities for me. It's created a way for me to be stronger. It's created me a way to be more compassionate and empathetic towards other people who have, challenges like I do or not like I do. So embracing the story is a big part of it. A lot of business owners shy away of talking about the fact that they have a chronic illness because they feel like they don't get the same respect. They feel like they won't get the same respect. They feel like they won't get clients. And I'm living proof that's not true. And there's so many other women who have it that we don't even know that they have a chronic illness. That's also living proof that those thoughts or those misbeliefs aren't true. So those two things, just owning your story, embracing it, and like taking the overwhelm away from the situation.
Yeah. Oh man, I love talking about, I'm such a storytelling geek and like a word nerd and all of that stuff. I would love to dive in a little bit and ask. Speaking of dogs, I think my mom probably actually came in with the tacos. Our dog stand is like a
He's the wild child. We have
He
the
said,
older.
"Give me the tacos."
Yes, right now he's probably holding my mom hostage. We have the older, like, angel dog Tarkin and the younger problem child Stan. Like, literally think of them as my children. But okay, sorry about that. But I would love to hear more about kind of how you approach storytelling, maybe like encouraging women to tell their story and like in what way? Because I know that is really, really hard, but it's so important in a personal brand and just, I don't know, confidence in your business, I think.
Yeah, that is not an easy thing. Like, it's really not. It's such a personal, vulnerable way of being that a lot of people aren't comfortable with. And I feel like you first have to get comfortable. Like, I feel like that's the first, like, you have to accept that this is your life and that this is part of your story. It's not it doesn't define you, but it is a part of you. And I think a lot of people don't want people to know that. So they struggle, especially a lot of women who are just starting in their business, who are struggling with, it's literally, when I say tug of war, when I'm coaching and talking to clients, it's literally a tug of war with them when I'm talking to them, like, well, let's talk about how you feel. Like, how does your body feel? Is this stressing you out? Like, do you feel like you can't really share what's going on because you're afraid? Like, let's really identify what those feelings are and lay them out on the table. I'm not saying like, let's go on Instagram stories and like, shout out to the rooftops. Not everybody's as comfortable as I am. Like, who's like, hey, I was just in the hospital and, they took some test results and we're not talking like that. We're talking more of just acknowledging the feeling, right? Acknowledging what you've gone through, acknowledging what's happened. And then from there, you can take out the pieces that you're comfortable with sharing. And that's a part of your brand. For me, when I first realized that I needed to do that was the moment that I was like, why is this so hard? I was like, why is my business feel so hard? Like, it was so hard. Like, I couldn't come up with as much ideas. Creativity wasn't flowing because I was moving from like a service-based business to like a coaching business. And I was like, I don't know why this is so hard. And a coach had to say to me, well, maybe it's because you're trying to hide a piece of who you are, which is this huge, big elephant in the room of the fact that you live with chronic illness. And how can you bring that into your business? And I was like, girl, please, nobody want to know about that. Nobody wants to know about that.
Yeah, I feel like that is such a hang up for so many of us, like whether you have like this chronic illness or not. Like, I've been doing a lot of mindset. I hired a mindset coach this spring as well to help me deal with some harder past things that I haven't dealt with yet. And I did feel like it actually, the point when I decided to really invest in my mindset coach was when my business coach, I had kind of a breakdown with her and she's like, Kinsey, like, you need to work through this part of your story and you need to, because this is a business decision. She's like, this is becoming a hindrance on your business. It's not personal anymore, And so I think it really is important to embrace parts of your story. But I'm curious, like, how did you decide then, like, what to share or how to share your story kind of thing in your business?
So for me, I had to decide that what I was going through wasn't shameful. I think as women in general, and I can speak for myself, and I can also speak just because I've talked to so many women who live with chronic illness, that there is shame for even having the label of having a chronic illness. So I have endometriosis, I have fibromyalgia, I have a couple other things. The list is actually quite long, but those are two main catalysts to a lot of the things that I suffer with. And so for years, people would tell me, and specifically people who I would think are like, and this is in air quotes, people that are like, doctors or people that I would look up to would say, well, it's in your head. And so when you keep hearing that reinforcement, it's in your head, it's not real. We didn't have a name for any of this. You're just making this up. You just want attention. You kind of put yourself in a bubble and you don't want any attention. Like, you don't want any attention. You want to not have pain, but you also don't want to be like, I'm attention seeking, right? And so for me, I had to acknowledge that, no, that wasn't right. What I was going through, what I am going through is a part of my life. I didn't choose this. There was no choice in this matter. I didn't choose to have a chronic illness. This is just my lot in life. And so once I really accepted and forgave myself in a sense of being I didn't do anything wrong. Everybody has life hurdles, whether it's chronic or just life in general, crazy life. So my situation isn't much different than anyone else's. And so to believe that other people have a perfect life is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And so people really connect with people. And if my business is about connecting with people, then if I'm hiding a part of me, if I'm hiding a part that actually is even the reason why I'm having a business in the first place, which literally having my own business was created because I have a chronic illness, then it seemed really inauthentic and fake. And I hate fake. That, and I was like, so I'm being fake. And once I had that acknowledgement, that I was like, oh Lord, I'm being fake. I got weird, nasty feeling. I don't like that. Let's fix it. And so I just started sharing parts of my story. I just started telling people yeah, I have endometriosis, it's really a struggle. And for me, endometriosis, is the huge pivotal part that kind of I feel has spurned all of the crazy things that goes on with my health. But once I started just letting in a couple people, it was almost like this whole world opened up to me. And there was all these other women sharing their stories. I would get DMs from people who were like, I'm so glad you shared that. And I was like, what? When I started my podcast was started because I had just had a surgery that was supposed to be normal, recovery time, but it ended up being really difficult for me. And so I wasn't connecting with people like I normally would. So I was looking for a way to connect and grow my business. And I do not like blogs because I don't like to write. And I love connecting. I just love talking and seeing people's faces. And so my husband asked me, he's like, why don't you try a podcast? And I was like, I don't even know what that is, but okay, we'll try it. And, it became the thing. And I just started, it was therapy. My podcast in the beginning, if you listen to my first couple episodes, you're like, Nikita's really telling us a whole lot of information. And what was awesome about that is that there's no video with podcasts. So I felt freer because I wasn't feeling judged or feeling like someone was looking at me thinking weird thoughts, because it's just my voice. You don't know who I am, or you may not know who I am. If you're listening to the podcast, you're just listening. And so that was really a gateway to being able to share my story and really be really authentic. And then once I felt and got the reassurance for myself, and then people were reaching out to me and thank you for sharing this, because no one is really talking about this like you are. And I'm going through this, or I'm about to do this. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I had women I'm literally listening to your podcast crying right now because what you're going through is my life.
Yeah.
And I want to create a business. I want to have a business. Or I almost quit doing my business because I was having all these struggles, but I listened to there's no words to tell me. So I'm anytime that I felt like I was about to give up or anything, I was like, I just need to keep sharing. And I think every business has that, whether you have a chronic illness or not. People nowadays, and I say nowadays, but I truly believe this has always been the case. We love people. We want to connect with people. And so a part of your business, especially if you're a solo entrepreneur, especially if you're a creative entrepreneur, you are the business. You are a part of that business. And that means that a part of you is in it, whether you believe it or not.
Yeah.
And it's coming out. So it's either coming out really real or really fake. And people can tell.
Yeah, let's dive into that a little bit. I'm so excited to chat with you about this because I've actually been doing a lot of research on kind of this authenticity on social media and what is authenticity on social media and what should we share, what's fake, what's not. Can you talk to us a little bit about what you think authenticity is and how to bring it onto social?
Well, one, it's not a hashtag. Two, it's, oh man, I mean,
I know it's a big,
I have to take my sweater off for this. It's there is the fake being real, which obviously means you're not being real. And then there's the real you. And I feel that on social media, which is ironically was made so that people can authentically connect with one another, has become, I can't even think of the word right now. It has become a source of why there's so much more people that are afraid to show who they are online and on social. And so I think if you're endeavoring to create or share who you are, first of all, know why you're doing it. Like don't be doing it just because, you know, you think you're going to get 1,000 likes, or you think you're going to make all the $1 billion banks whatever it is that you think you're going to make. Do it because, one, it connects to your values and your mission and who you are as a person. Like that's first and foremost, like how you show up like you would show up at a store with your family, like be you. Like you don't want someone to come off of social media and meet you in person and be like, who are you?
Yeah.
You just don't.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's a big thing. It's just recognize where you actually are coming from. If you're looking at other people and you're like, oh, I want to do that thing like so-and-so, don't. If you're going to do something, I always tell people, be inspired by other people's journey, but forge your own path, your own way, because people want to connect with you. They don't want to connect with the someone that you're trying to be like, because if they wanted that, they would just go to that. Like, you are different. We are all uniquely created differently because of that. So being authentic is being true to your true values and your true who you are. I mean, it's not really that hard. I find it's like a really interesting question about being authentic online, because I feel like if you're thinking whether or not you're being real online, then you probably aren't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if you're like, oh, that didn't seem like me, well, then it probably wasn't.
Yeah. You know, it's so funny. I think it's hard. There's like this fear of judgment that we have, right? There's this perfectionism that we all have. And so when it comes to social media for your business, and it's so funny, I really don't have much of a problem being authentic on like my personal account, which I don't really post to anymore because I don't have time. Yeah. I'm like on social media way too much as it is, you know. But when it comes to like authenticity in your business, I just find it so interesting because my business coach, she talks about your story is sacred to you. You know, you don't have to share all parts of your life. And so it's kind of like what to share, what not to share, how to stay authentic and strategic to you. And I found maybe it's easier when it comes to being authentic in your business is to just be purposeful with the stories that you're sharing and maybe the way you're showing up, and make it more about your audience than you necessarily. Like maybe make it more of like a supportive system for your audience, maybe. So, does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, so what I tell my audience and what I tell my clients who are really struggling with this concept of like, but my life and then my business. And I'm like, well, there is an intersection where your life and your business kind of intersects, and it comes to what your core values are. Most likely what your core values are as a person is likely going to be reflected in your business, unless it's like some really weird random business that you're like not really a part of. Maybe you're a silent partner. I don't know. But if it's your physical business, your core values are reflected in that business. So if you can identify 3 of them, those 3 core values can really create almost like a compass for what you post, what you talk about, how you share, how you show up in your business and give value or content. And I do agree with the fact that your story is yours, is your sacred story. But I also believe that it was given to you and you're living it for a reason. It's totally up to you and your choice what to share, how much to share. But I always tell people to relate it, especially when it comes to business, to relate it back to how it serves your client. So for a lot of people, they get stuck in that particular idea of like, well, I don't want to talk about me. And it's like, you don't have to necessarily talk about you. I have a worksheet where I just tell people like, first of all, let's get out of this concept of somehow creating content or anything for social media where it's like all these stories about yourself. Like let's just write out the stories. First of all, let's have some stories.
Yeah.
Let's just write some stories out. Let's just talk about something you experienced and relate it to your life or your business, why you started, what struggles you've had, maybe personal things that reflects into what your business is, blah, blah, blah. Write it out. Nobody got to see what you wrote. Just write it out. Mm-hmm. And then identify maybe feelings or things that you think your audience relates to, and then correlate that back to what value you're bringing. So it's a process, but it's a well psychologically proven way of marketing and also truly being authentic on social media, online and in general. So I would say know what your values are. When in doubt, identify 3.
Yeah. And I love what you said about it all starts like offline. Like it started with you becoming comfortable with your story, and it becomes just easier to talk about offline, and then it becomes easier to show up authentically online, even if you're not necessarily giving the full story or sharing it. It's easier to be yourself still, maybe.
Yeah. I just had a client who I have a free Facebook group where she was struggling so hard with this concept of what she thought the world is like in her particular industry and what she's used to in her own life. And it's a side business she has, and then she's an occupational therapist. So she does physical therapy and stuff like that. And so that's a actually more relaxed kind of environment, but very professional. And so just like online, I feel like I'm putting on this persona of being like super professional, but that's not even me in my real job, like in my job. And she's like, I'm always feeling like I'm trying to figure out what content to create, what to talk about, how to even approach someone. And in that conversation, I was like, but why? But why do you feel that you need to be that way? And the answer was crickets, because there's no reason why. There's no reason why. And she's like, I don't know why I felt like I have to do that. And I was like, well, what would it look like if you did what you usually do? Feel comfortable, but be professional and share a piece of yourself. And it was like a light bulb went off. Like, she's like, that feels so much more comfortable. I now know what I have to do in my life, in my business. Is like just taking away the belief that you have to do it a certain way. The only way that you have to do it is your way, like the way that feels good to you. So do that.
Yes. Yeah. We all grow up trying to fit in.
Yes. I just did a blog post about this. Yes.
Oh, girl, you need to send it to me. I'll link it in the show notes. Because exactly, it's just like, did you read Glennon Doyle's Untamed book?
Not yet.
Okay. It's pretty good. I like being a word nerd myself. I listened to this interview with her where she said she wrote the book once, and she wrote it in like a traditional memoir fashion, and she actually sent it to Liz Gilbert, and Liz Gilbert was like, girl, this is too tamed for a book called Untamed. She's like, you get wild with this book. So the book is kind of structured in like an untamed, wild manner in itself, you know, which I just thought that was like the coolest.
Yeah.
But it's really, really hard for us, even though we know, you know, we're trying to fit into these social norms and these molds that society has created for us and all these things. Like, even if you know that consciously, it's so easy to get sucked into that way of thinking. And you really need, that's where you come in, Nikita. Have someone be like, no, you need to do you, you know, you just need that reminder. That's what coaches are amazing for.
Yeah. I think that I think it's so amazing to see when a woman like recognizes that her power has always existed within what she's already created or what she's done. Because I mean, honestly, the crazy thing about us wanting to be like everyone else is that that's not even real. That's not even a realistic expectation ever. No one has the exact same life. As much as we all want to fit in, nothing great has ever been created from fitting in. I mean, nothing. And nothing is really, even in our own personal lives, nothing amazing is created in our comfort zone. And I think that's honestly the problem with all of us. We get in a comfy spot. You know, we're like, oh, I'm good. Like for me, I'm like, I was good just being in my own world and nobody got to know nothing. Like let them just assume whatever it is they want to assume. I'm good with that. I'm good, you know? And had I not even personally had taken the time or even had the awareness to need a coach. And for me, having a coach didn't happen because I was looking for a coach. A coach found me. Like a coach found me. Like it was a friend that I'd known for a long time ago. And it wasn't a business coach. It wasn't a mindset coach. It was a health coach. And in that health coaching, I was like, whoa, lady, friend, person, you've opened my mind to a whole nother world of amazing things. And that's the beauty of getting outside of your comfort zone. You can see options and things you've never thought about. And if you're online and if you're on social and you are looking at everybody else doing their own thing, one, that means you're in your comfort zone because you're looking at everybody else versus looking at yourself. And I think that's really the work and the wonderful thing about having a coach or working with a coach, because they force you outside of that comfort zone. They force you to question why you believe what you believe and put in the work, put in the work.
Yeah, accountability and then kind of flipping the script. That's my mindset coach. I've told her before, I'm like, the most frustrating things you've said to me have made the biggest difference. Just like flipping the script on me, having me question like why I believe this. What does this frustrating thing that this person is doing mean about me? Why am I frustrated about it? And it's just like, oh, you're so right. Like, let me sit with that for a second.
Yeah.
Oh, man. And I don't know. I would love to know how you feel about this, because I love what you said about feeling how you feel. Like, I think so many of us try to deal with emotions in our head, but so much of it is actually recognizing it in your body.
Yeah. I'm a weird person when it comes to this. My husband jokes with me all the time. He's like, I don't understand how you and your body can communicate so well. Like, I don't understand. I have overactive nerves. And I think that's part of because I'm really attuned to when things aren't right, what's going wrong. And that's the blessing and the curse of having a chronic illness. And a lot of women who have chronic illness are really in tune with their bodies. We know the moment something is not right. We just know because we're used to our normal. We've experienced the normal. And then when something is off, we just know. And that honestly has taught me what it means to be in connection with my feelings. I am a very emotional person. And if you're a creative entrepreneur in any way, shape, or form, so are you. Just letting you know.
No.
Just letting you know in case you're in denial. It's true.
Yeah.
It's important to acknowledge the feelings. I think sometimes we push them down, which is part of the reason why we deal with a lot of health issues, and deal with a lot of anxiety and depression, because we're pushing down. But what if you just let them float up like balloons, right? What if you just grabbed onto them and let them take you to where you need to go, and then release them and let them go? It's a beautiful thing to be able to do when you're able to acknowledge that that's a feeling that you're having. You recognize it, deal with it if you must. If it's something that you must deal with it, deal with it. But if it's something you can just let float away, let it float away. But so often we just push it down. We just push it down. We're like, I don't feel like that. Oh no. Or we busy ourselves, or we start thinking about something else. We spiritualify it away. Like we're just like, I'll pray it away. Like it's like you don't have any feelings with that. You feeling what you feel doesn't mean that you're less spiritual, less than a person, not strong. It doesn't mean any of that. It just means you're a human.
Yes.
And so when you acknowledge that you're human and you have feelings and you have emotions and things happen to you, and it makes the feelings they don't have power over you. You have power over them.
Mm-hmm.
So you just have to get comfortable with them. Like, I know a lot of people aren't comfortable with their feelings, like crying or getting angry or laughing and stuff like that. But I encourage everyone to get really comfortable with their feelings, because those are the things that usually hold you back, and not just your life, but your business, your relationships, in every area of your world. And, you know, I'm a business coach. I always tell people this, I'm a business coach, but I'm kind of like a holistic blend of the two, of a business and mindset coach, because I don't believe that it's possible to create the success in your life without addressing the limiting beliefs or the habits that you've created in your mind and in your life to have success. Like, they just don't work together. I mean, I know. Yeah, so that's a whole nother conversation. So there's that.
No, I'm just eating it up, girl. I'm over here like, yes, because I completely agree. Like, the biggest hurdles that I've had to overcome in my first year and a half of business have completely 100% had to do with mindset and just figuring out like when to push through, when to deal, when to take a break, when to move forward, like dealing with confidence, you know. I would love to know your take on how to maybe boost your confidence in your business and everything like that.
So that's a trick question.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
I'm like,
excited.
you don't realize it's a trick question, but it is. I believe, and I have seen that confidence doesn't come without action. I feel like so many times we're looking for confidence to come to us, like some miraculous thing that just we have it.
Yeah. Okay.
But it doesn't. It doesn't come from just osmosis. It comes from action. It comes from looking back and looking at the small, the really tiny steps, the big accomplishments that you've made, and keeping a bank. Like, keeping a confidence bank. And I literally mean that. Like, for a lot of clients, they're really great, or a lot of people are really great at keeping this in their mind, like all of these things that they like can remember. But a lot of us aren't like that. They need to see it on paper. They need to see it on paper. They need to see it on a video or something. And so if that's your trouble, if you have, you struggle with feeling confident, I encourage you to either write daily 3 things you've accomplished and how you've gotten to where you are, or record a voice memo or a video of you talking about the things that you've done, because those are the things that really boost your confidence when you're like, I can't do this. Because I can guarantee you that when you look back about this podcast, being like, I don't know what I'm doing, if you just think about that and think about where you are now, you will instantly have confidence. You're like, dang, I did that. Like, it's instant.
Yeah, it's so true. I know. Yeah. Like, we focus on the negative so much. The one person who left a mean comment, or all of those things that I'm not confident about in my business, but hell yeah, I started a podcast not knowing what I was doing. I figured it out,
Yeah.
I so appreciate you coming on the show. Is there any just like one piece of advice that you really love to give new entrepreneurs? I know that might be kind of a big question, but
just own what you're good at. If you don't know what you're good at, find out. Like, just figure it out and do that. Like, I feel like so often we focus on the external, what everyone else is doing and how they're doing it. And that even in that, we miss out on how awesome we are, like with the gifts that we have and how amazing they are, and how you can create that amazing stuff that's in your head. So figure out what makes you, figure out what makes you thrive and happy and joyful. And when it comes to your business, bring it to your business, because that's your awesome sauce. That's your, like, whatever that sauce that everybody loves on a burger, whatever that is, that's your sauce. Okay.
Yes. Oh man, I love thinking about it in the terms of like a burger sauce. Yes, that's wonderful. Oh man. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Nikita. I've loved chatting with you. Can you please tell my followers, my listeners, where they can find you, follow you, connect with you, because I know that they're going to want to for sure.
Well, first and foremost, thank you so much for having me. This was fun. I don't get to do this too often, so it's always fun to be on the other side of it.
Oh, yeah, I know. I love it. So definitely, where can we find your podcast? Let us know that.
My podcast is She's Crafted to Thrive, and that's pretty much anywhere. You can Google it, which is kind of cool. I still think that's cool. You can Google it and like see wherever it is. Most people listen to it on iTunes or Spotify or on my website, but you can find me, the business coach, Crafted to Thrive on Instagram. So my handle is Crafted to Thrive.
Awesome. And I will link everything in the show notes. Thank you so much, lady. And I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
How awesome is Nikita? I seriously just loved chatting with her. And I know that you really, really enjoyed that conversation as well. So definitely go find her at craftedtothrive.com. It's super easy to find, and she is just a wonderful person. She also does a lot of live videos on Instagram, so give her a follow. And don't forget to join our Brand Vibe Challenge this week, my friends. It is seriously so much fun. It is just chock full of great information. And I know it will do wonders to help you create content more easily and grow that following you've been wanting to grow. I know that is what you want. I know that's what we're all going for. And this is the place to start. So go ahead and join our Brand Vibe Challenge at feelgoodsocial.com/brandvibe. And I hope that you have a wonderful weekend, my friends. And we'll chat next week. Thanks so much for listening, my friend. For show notes and a whole lot of other awesome freebies, visit feelgoodsocial.com. Simply go to feelgoodsocial.com for all the goods.